Hi, it's Romy. Thank you so much for tuning into my YouTube channel. Capricorn, this is your April 2020 reading. So if you're Capricorn Sun, Rising or Moon, it is a general reading, but it might resonate for you. If you're enjoying it and you'd like to support my channel, you can go ahead and find the link for the extended version in the description box below. Or hop over to my website, romywyser.com, where you can learn more about the services that I offer. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. Okay, Capricorn, let's see what April has in store for you. I'm going to go ahead and put some cards down for you. Okay, Capricorn, it's April Aries season. So Saturn has now moved out of your sign. It's in Aquarius. There is an emphasis in and around your sense of security, your sense of worth and value. And of course, Aries season is 4th house. So the focus around home and family. So you are going to be triggered in many ways by the restrictions that are being placed around you. But at the same time, I feel into your energy that many of you are not prepared to go there, not prepared to sink into that negative, fear-based current that's kind of trying to draw you in the opposite direction, because everything in your energy right now is saying forward motion, initiation, new beginning, like taking what I've learned in that Saturn transit and ready to make something of it, ready to implement what I have gained from the experience. And so yes, I think there's going to be a little bit of a push-pull in your energy versus the collective, but also within yourself, as perhaps you still inevitably might have some uncertainty, some doubt and some changes in your own personal circumstances. But I want you to really drop down into your soul center, into your own intuitive knowing about what is happening for you, the transformation, the opportunity, the freshness, the new inspiration, because I think some of that wisdom that wants to drop in is really going to help you to reconcile and make sense of a lot of what is going on in the external. Ace of Wands is really saying this is the opportunity for a reset, a new beginning, an opportunity to move in the direction of something that really lights you up and inspires you. And maybe some of you will be feeling that you now have the time and space to be able to do that. On the 3rd of this month, Venus moves into the sign of Gemini. She's going to be there for quite some time as she then hits into retrograde. So we're looking at almost a 4-month period of this placement, and it's going to be in your 6th house, which is about how you take care of yourself, but also how you want to be of service and how you want to show up in the world, how you want to communicate differently and take advantage of that opportunity to connect into new ways. And here we have the Queen of Swords, which certainly could denote that Gemini energy, that air energy. It could also be a Libra or Aquarius. But I think as you embody this essence, this frequency, you know, this discernment and wisdom that she has to offer you, what she's saying is that you can use that sword of truth to cut through, you know, any of the BS really that is surrounding you at the moment, you know, coming back to your understanding of what is unfolding and what is going on in your experience. And I think that's really going to help. It's that clarity that's going to help you to rise above and make sure that you're then working with your own intuitive knowing about where you need to be next and where you need to direct your thought forms and how you can be of service, how you can help others. And you know, sometimes we need to be a little bit detached, we need to be a little bit clinical, we need to have that ability to, you know, tap into our emotional self, but also not to let it overwhelm us. So I don't see you being avoidant this month, Capricorn, but what I do see is that, you know, you're stepping up and allowing yourself to be in a position of using some tough love for yourself and others to make sure that you can get something moving, get something going. Perhaps you're needed for that initiative, for that particular project, to be able to, you know, hold the peace or maintain the peace in a family dynamic, or with specific people in your life. So I see you as a strong anchor energy. But you know, the butterflies in this card is also just talking about your own transformation and metamorphosis through this process. So that Venus and Gemini transit, I think, going to be really important for you. in terms of the new routines and structures and how you're starting to look at your work-life balance and the way that you prioritize things, and then being given that sense of ready to make the changes. Another ace energy. I really like this for you because it also shows me that there's clarity to come from any confusion. You know, this hand is coming out from the clouds and there's a mountain here, so there is this suggestion that you can, you know, take a higher perspective. You can take the higher learning from this. The sword directly pointed upwards towards, you know, that source of divine cosmic intelligence that you're just kind of pulling down and into your understanding, into your conscious awareness, you know. And I think that if you can use what comes to you intuitively, what comes to you through those quiet times, through meditation, through, you know, having that sacred space despite any chaos that's going on around you, that's when you're going to be given the downloads and the information about how you can navigate your own way through this process, but also help others, you know, whether that be as part of your immediate family, your soul family, and of course the collective right now. You know, that air energy tapping into Aquarius, Saturn being in Aquarius now, wants us to have innovative and radical solutions so that we can bring about, you know, real sustainable change. And I think that you're ready to receive that, you know. For me, all of these, the wands and the swords are almost like these receptacles of kind of that energy information coming to you. So I want you to be very open-minded. You know, the Queen of Swords is open-minded. She's curious, you know, she wants to kind of assess the energy landscape, be very pragmatic with it, you know, bring her own experience to bear. But she you know, she has a lot to say, and I think that, you know, you shouldn't be frightened of sort of putting that forward, that voice, in terms of like what matters now, you know, what are the traditions, what are the emotional tools that we can use to create that sense of families, that sense of solidarity, togetherness, and, you know, finding a stability in what is happening and what is going on. Of course, with that fourth house in Aries, for many of you, you will be looking at your home environment, the home setup, the way that things have unfolded, and perhaps deciding some of the adjustments and changes that you'll be making down the line. I do have you with that Queen of Swords, like with one eye to the future, you know, very visionary in your thought process about what comes after this. And remember, we have a full moon in the sign of Libra, which is an air sign, on the 7th, and that's in your 10th house of long-term planning, Capricorn. It's about, you know, what your priorities are going to be in terms of your family, or, you know, what you're doing in terms of your career, you know, the purpose that you perhaps have felt drawn towards under this incredible set of circumstances that we all find ourselves in. And who matters to you, you know, who is the soul family that you want to be around right now. That 10 of Cups is inviting you to step into that sort of emotional energy through the 4th house, but also starting to think about what comes next, what comes down the line. Interestingly, on the 4th of this month, we have a Pluto-Jupiter conjunction in your sign. Another wave of opportunity to dig deep, you know, Jupiter, that planet of expansion, going into the Lord of the Underworld's realm and exposing, unearthing, revealing, activating that beautiful 444 gateway to help transcend into a different type of energy frequency. So it will be a valuable time for you. This is the first of 3 conjunctions happening with this axis, and I think that you are being invited to review, I think, Capricorn, those aspects of your life or of what is unfolding and where you are attaching a heaviness, a sense of disappointment or disillusionment to it. 5 of Swords can be such an opportunity for growth, lessons learned, and, you know, even though there may be some victory, there is still a hollowness and an emptiness, and I think you are gonna, through this month of April, have times where you have to sit in that container of energy to really understand what it is showing you and revealing to you. And remember, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, so this is about helping your growth. This is about your spiritual evolution right now. This is not about taking you backwards. even though it may feel that some of the situations you find yourself in right now are very limiting and pulling you back to a time that doesn't feel comfortable. And let's not make any bones, this is an uncomfortable time for all of us. We're having to sit with this energy and figure out how to navigate our way through it. But Queen of Swords is tenacious. She's absolutely tenacious. And I think that you are coming up with your own creative solutions and how to deal with this, and I think what that's going to do is restore some peace and balance and harmony around you. But you don't get to kind of skip out on what that Five of Swords is teaching you, because it is your rite of passage. But I like this. We're moving away from the 5 into the energy of the 6, which is about us coming into calmer, clearer, crystal waters. But you're taking all of the learning with you. Each of these swords representing something that has been valuable to you. As you look back over 2019 and the beginning of this year, what you have learned. And it is this time to, surrender into the journey of it and understand that it is a cycle, that you are moving forward. You are moving forward with this, and perhaps it's still with a little bit of heaviness, and that's okay too. I think for many of you, you were ready to kind of step out and start that brand new life cycle, and what the reading is saying is that is still happening. These ace energies are telling you that this still is a time of renewal. Aries is the start of that new astrological year, and we're right at the beginning. So the seeds that you're planting this month are incredibly important. They are going to deliver and move you towards that sense of completion, that emotional sanctuary, harmony and balance that you're looking for in whatever area of your life you're particularly focused on just now. That full moon in Libra bringing in some balance and some perspective. And I think that word is going to be really important. Firstly, because I think you're going to be gaining perspective yourself, but also I think you're going to be the voice of reason for many this month, Capricorn. You can be the person that is giving a different perspective, one that is showing people how they can move away from a stress-induced state where they're literally disappearing down the rabbit hole. They are blindfolding themselves. And I think, sometimes you can only come to that perspective because you're tapping into that energy yourself. But what I see you being able to do, because of what you have experienced in your own soul journey under these particularly powerful transits you've been working with, is understand the tools and the coping mechanisms, but also the growth and the learning that you've taken from it. So I think the 8 of Swords is incredibly important. It's representing those people around you that might be in a real state of almost like paralysis and shut down through their anxiety and their fear and their stress. And I see you being able to be that anchor and that voice. Queen of Swords is about the communication. She's speaking, it's not just her presence, it's how she's using, her knowledge and sharing it. And I think that's really important. You have a lot of swords in this reading, so the way that you're working with your own thought forms is going to be incredibly important. And when we come into Taurus season, which begins on the 19th, we have a beautiful new moon happening on the 22nd. Then we dive right into 5th house for you. Beautiful earth energy where you feel slightly more comfortable, and that 5th house opening up your creativity. And I think where the solutions really start to come together for you, and maybe starting to fall back in love with aspects of your life, based on what you've experienced through this first part of April. The connection that you've been able to have with your children, with your inner child, with those things that maybe you haven't had time to devote to in a very long time. So beautiful burst of positivity and radiance coming through when you take the learning, communicate, not discount, avoid or neglect some of the tougher things that you've had to face and what's being triggered within you. But then also being that source of sunlight, being that charge for other people. So I really love the way that is showing you where you can be of service. Yeah, we talked about Venus and Gemini. Venus and Gemini, you can be of service by sharing your experience, by sharing your perspective. showing people a different way, moving them forward, away from this sense of disillusionment, loss, disappointment, unhealthy tendencies, sabotaging, self-sabotaging cycles that they might be trapped in. But all of that you can only teach because you're one step ahead, right? You can only teach because you've been through it, or you're dealing with it yourself in that moment. Careful not to I guess take this month as being the time when you have to prove to yourself or others who you are, what you've got to give, what you have to say. I just feel like there is this cautionary note of just, don't be burdened down by everything that's going on around you just now. Don't feel the heaviness of that sense of duty and responsibility to be all things to all people, because if you move in the direction of that too quickly, I feel that you're going to burn out your own energy, and all of that beautiful renewal energy that comes through with the aces is very quickly going to be zapped and drained from you. Yes, you're here to support, to comfort, to help, to inspire, to lead yourself and others. Yes, this is a time to come together. Yes, this is a time to really step up, but not at the cost of your own mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Remember, Five of Swords can sometimes denote that empty victory. So you get to be where you think you should be, but at what is the cost to you right now? And I feel that the Ten of Wands is just asking you to be measured in your approach. Be the sun, but don't let people who are in a very stressed state absolutely deplete that, so that you end up struggling to renew that within your own energy field as well. Of course, it does also denote the path forward and perhaps how it feels to you somewhat through this month of April. And I don't think that this is going to be through the entire month. I think, like many of us, you're going to go through a myriad of emotions, and in any one day have a real mixed bag of what it is that you're feeling and what you perceive the outlook for the future to be, which is why you just need to keep grounding and tapping back into that soul center to know what the truth of this situation is. So even if the journey ahead feels challenging, be reminded that Ten of Wands is also a point of completion. You've got 2 tens in this reading, so we are asking you to remember that this is about a cycle, and that all the work that you're doing and what you're going through, what you're experiencing, is to get to a point of something coming to fruition, something coming to an end, the culmination of something. So even if you have to experience some hardship, some challenge, some weight of responsibility, the work that you do, the way that you show up is ultimately going to be of value. It's not taking you to a dead end, is what I want to say. You're building something sustainable for the future from it, okay? Even when the journey feels difficult. But I do feel you've got the strength, like I said, the tenacity to be able to work through this month. And there are some really beautiful moments, Rest assured, the Sun and the Ten of Cups are bringing you back into a state of presence where you can activate those emotions of joy, those emotions of happiness and contentment in spite of circumstances that are going on around you. Let's take a look and see what oracle cards are coming through to reflect your reading. Okay, so you have the Leap, ecstasy, bliss, belief. And I think with those ace energies coming through, and then again, almost like she's like this receiver, this container for this charge of energy that's coming from the divine, coming from source. And you are being asked to take a higher, again, on top of the mountains here, take this higher outlook, see above and beyond what is, look over the wall. Look to source, look to your inner guidance, look to those who inspire you and tell a different story, who tell a story of renewal, of peace, of opportunity, of connection, of love, of harmony, of sustainable change, of open possibility. You know, that's where you're going to feel alive. That's where you're going to feel needed. That's where you're going to be able to give the best of yourself. It is in your belief of that outcome and of that vision of the future that you can also tap into the ecstasy and the joy that the Sun and the Ten of Cups can absolutely deliver for you. So you have the choice, Capricorn, this month. I think many of you will choose it wisely and make the right choice. And I see you being incredibly strong where you need to be. But that does mean that you have to keep charging up. How do you do that? Through nature, being around people who have the same kind of belief set or are on the same resonant frequency. So when you do dip down and inevitably have those moments where you just need a little bit of extra support, you've surrounded yourself with the things that can deliver it to you. So we have an eclipse in Libra for your astrological card. Of course, we've got the full moon in Libra happening on the 7th, reevaluating relationships, justice and fair play. And you know, the Queen of Swords can absolutely denote a Libra energy. Maybe for some of you, you are dealing with a air sign specifically and you're trying to make an assessment about that particular relationship, what it means to you. I do think that you are trying to find a middle ground through this month of April, and that you will be the sounding board. You will try to give people different perspectives, and I think that's going to serve you, although just be prepared that not everybody might want to hear it. Okay, you got to understand this. Not everybody is ready. You know, if you're bumping up against people in relationships or just around you who have decided that this is the only energy that they can currently reside in, you know, you have to let them to a certain extent play that out. You can be there, and you know, that energy I see for you is going to be resilient and is going to hold space. Okay, but you also have to make sure that you're focused on the direction that you're heading with your energy, and that isn't selfish. It's about you being able to raise your frequency so that you can hold that and allow people to step forward and into that light, into that space. You know, eclipse energies are tumultuous. They do reveal things. They are uncomfortable. They are illuminating. And it is giving you the chance to reevaluate things within yourself, of course, and within the relationships and what is out of balance or has been for a long time in your life. So, you know, with Saturn and Aquarius in your 2nd house, perhaps it is all around your sense of self-worth, where money and security come into the picture and the focus. And of course, you know, many of you maybe be experiencing, you know, dramatic twists and turns with that through this month. But remember, we are all about restoring the harmony and the balance, and you being given that information from source, you being the conduit that can channel, if you like, the wisdom, not only for yourself but for people around you as well, Capricorn. I think that's going to be incredibly supportive for your own spiritual journey. Where you are experiencing emotional distance with people, 6 of Swords, of course, denoting that, and the sense of disappointment that comes, maybe your distance from family members or from people who feel like soul family or that you really love and care. And of course, that's going to induce some uncomfortable and challenging emotions. But be reminded again that this is a cycle that you are going to move through, and in doing so, you're going to be finding renewal, strength, transition and metamorphosis within yourself. So you have what it takes to navigate this, not only with grace and with poise, but with tremendous strength, and people are going to need that. Okay, Capricorn, if you would like to join me for the extended reading, I am going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards, and it's going to be for a very specific question that you have that I might not have covered in this general reading. So if you think about that question for me right now, and I will go ahead and pull a couple of cards. So here we go. The link for the extended reading is in the description box underneath the video, or you can hop over to my website, romywyser.com, and you'll find the information to purchase and to join me. So I'm going to go ahead and pull some clarifying cards now for your main spread. So that Ace of Wands rather, has brought 10 of Cups and Justice. Okay, 10 of Cups again. Justice, of course, this nod to Libra energy. Again, you know, what is fair? There's maybe a big evaluation going on in your world about what's fair and what's not fair right now. Not for you to stand as judge and jury, but for you to see all sides of the equation, to make a choice and evaluate that for your own growth. Queen of Pentacles, your card. I love to see that coming up for you. Okay, Eight of Wands, Ace of Swords. Swift change coming in that's really revealing some truth and some clarity. Oh, another Ace of Wands. Wow. Okay. You're very charged up. Perhaps even at times feeling slightly aggressive, because maybe it's challenging for you to clear out the energy of what's going on, feeling pent up, or maybe just absorbing a lot from other people. So if you do find that you're getting a little bit of that aggressive frustration energy, just make sure that you're finding the opportunity to bring in some zen and some peace, some grounding meditation through nature, through EFT, like working with your mindset, but also moving your physical body is going to be really important. Five of Swords, Five of Cups, yeah. You know, there is some loss and some grief that we're dealing with. Not only the loss of our perceived freedom right now, but of course in just what's happening, and there's a deep sadness to it. All these fives, you know, there's a lot of inner conflict going on with you, I think, as you question the fairness of what's happening, perhaps the fairness of how things have been handled. Knight of Pentacles, how that's impacted you. Deeper soul searching happening. Judgment with the Eight of Swords, yeah. Interesting. Five of Pentacles and the Sun. Okay, you've got all the fives this month, but you know, the contrast energy that the fives deliver us instigate that sense of energy to create change, you know. Nine of Wands, 10 of Wands, okay. Do one more for that, Four Swords. Okay, for your Oracle, Ace of Swords again. And the card of Temperance. Beautiful. Okay, Capricorn, thanks for joining me. If you've enjoyed, please do drop me a like and a comment. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I look forward to continuing this conversation if you are coming on to the extended. Sending you lots of soul soothing for this month. Bright blessings. Stay safe and take good care of yourself. Okay, bye for now.